A young engineer named Evan Ward runs through a deadly ion storm on a mining moon. Wind, dust, and lightning crash around him. He sees a large starship parked in the loading bay. He has two choices: stay outside and die, or sneak inside a ship that is clearly not human. He chooses the ship, and the moment the doors close behind him, he realizes he is not alone. The ship belongs to a crew of alien women. Evan sneaks into a storage chamber, trying to stay silent. He hears voices, soft, melodic, non-human. He freezes. Outside, the storm hits full force. The ship automatically lifts off into orbit. Evan panics. He wanted shelter, not to leave the planet. 3 alien warrior women enter the room. Their armor glows with symbols. Their eyes shine faint gold in the dim light. Evan hides behind supply crates, listening as the aliens speak in a strange language. But suddenly, one of them smells something unusual. They discover him. He is dragged out, confused and terrified. Instead of killing him, the aliens begin to study him, whispering among themselves, "A human male, how did he enter?" He is small, soft, but interesting. Evan tries to explain, but they speak over him. Their leader, Commander Verissa, circles him like a scientist observing a new creature. He is taken to the ship's central chamber, where he sees dozens of alien women all staring at him, whispering with excitement. Verissa orders, "Do not harm him. He might be useful." Evan realizes he is the only human man on a ship filled with women trained for battle. He has no idea what they want. The part ends with a cliffhanger. The ship alarms sound. Something unknown is approaching them in space, and the aliens prepare for combat. Verissa looks at Evan and says, "You will come with us, human. Stay close, if you want to live." Welcome to my channel Sci-Fi Love Story. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. A fierce storm raged across the mining moon of Brontes 9. Sharp winds carried burning dust, and lightning snapped through the sky like glowing knives. The storm alarms howled across the colony as workers ran toward shelters and emergency pods. But one man was still outside, Evan Ward, a young engineer who had stayed too long in the repair sector. Evan ran across the metal platform, shielding his face from the stinging dust. His breathing was heavy, his heart loud in his ears. He knew that if he didn't find cover soon, the ion storm would tear him apart. The storm turned the air hot and electric, and anyone caught outside during peak bursts usually didn't make it back alive. The shelter gates were already sealed shut. Red lights blinked above the doors, locked. Pressure unstable. He was trapped. Then he saw it, a large Starship P. Arced in the far loading bay. Not a human design, but it was open. The ramp was down. Blue lights glowed along its sides. He froze for a moment. It wasn't a cargo ship. It wasn't a rescue ship. It wasn't even from the mining company. It was alien. Evan's options were simple: stay outside and die, or hide inside a ship that didn't belong to his species. Another blast of burning wind hit him, pushing him to the side. His skin felt like it was being peeled. The storm was seconds from full strength. He ran. Dust slammed against his body as he sprinted toward the mysterious craft. The ship stood tall, its smooth metallic skin reflecting the flashes of lightning. Strange symbols glowed faintly on its hull. Evan reached the ramp, slipped once, caught himself, and hurried inside. The interior was dim and cold. The air smelled like strange herbs and metal. Blue lights pulsed softly along the walls, responding to his movement as if the ship were alive. He turned around, gasping for breath. The storm outside hit full force, and the ship door suddenly sealed shut behind him with a deep mechanical hum. Evan froze. He hadn't touched anything. He hadn't pressed anything. The ship had closed itself. "Great," he whispered. "Just great." He took careful steps deeper inside, keeping low. The halls were smooth and curved, built for a species taller than humans. He moved past empty rooms, storage chambers, and what looked like armories filled with strange weapons. Then he stopped. He heard voices. Not human voices. Soft, melodic, slightly echoing, like wind chimes mixed with speech. He ducked behind a supply crate. The voices grew clearer. 3 figures approached, shadows stretching down the hallway. Evan held his breath. Their footsteps were too light to be soldiers. They almost glided across the floor. The figures entered the chamber. Evan's eyes widened. They were alien women, tall, graceful, armored with plates that glowed from within. Their skin was smooth but not one color. Lines of silver or deep blue ran across their arms and necks. Their hair floated gently as if the air around them were lighter. Their eyes, Golden, bright, focused. They spoke quickly in their language, their tones rising and falling like a strange song. Evan couldn't understand a word. He stayed perfectly still behind the crates. One of them paused. Her head tilted. She sniffed the air. Evan felt his heart stop. Her eyes narrowed into a sharp, hunter-like gaze. Then she pointed. The other two turned slowly, their golden eyes scanning the room. They stepped toward the crates. Evan tried to make himself smaller, pressing his back into the cold metal. But it was too late. A strong hand grabbed him by the collar and lifted him effortlessly. He was pulled out into the open and dropped on the floor at their feet. The aliens surrounded him in a triangle, helmets off now. Their faces were sharp, symmetrical, strangely beautiful and intimidating at the same time. One of them leaned close, examining him. "A human," she said in accented standard. "A male." Another alien tapped her wrist device and scanned him. A blue light circled his body from head to toe. "He is unharmed," she said. "Small, soft, but unusual." Evan tried to speak, but one alien raised her hand sharply to silence him. They whispered among themselves again in their own language. Then the doors behind them opened. A new figure stepped inside. She was taller than the others. Her armor darker, decorated with glowing silver lines. Her posture was confident, commanding. Her presence filled the room instantly. Evan knew immediately, this was the leader. She studied him with calm, sharp eyes. "Human," she said slowly. "Explain." Evan swallowed. I was outside. Storm. The shelter was locked. I saw the ship. I just wanted to hide, just to live. I didn't mean to trespass. I didn't know this was a warship," she finished. "Our warship." The words felt like a punch. "A warship," Evan whispered. The leader stepped closer, her golden eyes studying every part of him with a scientist's patience. She spoke to her soldiers, "Do not harm him. He may be useful." Useful? Evan didn't like the sound of that. The leader turned to him again. "I am Commander Varissa of the Korean Vanguard. You have entered a restricted vessel. According to our code, you are now our responsibility until we return to our territory." Evan opened his mouth to argue, but a deep rumble shook the entire ship. The lights flickered. Klaxons blared. The three warrior women immediately drew their weapons. The room's walls shifted, rearranging themselves as battle mode activated. Varissa pressed her wrist device. A hologram of space appeared. A large red shape was approaching fast. She frowned. "We are being scanned," she said. "An unknown ship is tracking us." Evan's stomach tightened. He had no idea what was happening, but one thing was clear. He had jumped from one danger to another. Varissa grabbed Evan's arm surprisingly gently, pulling him with her as she walked toward the bridge. "Come, human," she said. "Stay close if you want to live." Evan stumbled after her, terrified and confused. The corridors were no longer calm. Alien women rushed in formation, adjusting armor, loading weapons, chanting battle code phrases in their language. The entire ship came alive with movement. Varissa entered the command center. Rows of alien women sat at glowing consoles. Maps, star charts, and energy signals floated through the air as holograms. The ship shook. Evan grabbed a support bar. "What's happening?" he asked. Varissa didn't look at him. "A threat, one we hope to avoid." She pointed at the hologram. "That vessel hunts our kind." Evan stared at the red shape. It was huge, spiked, and glowing like a predator staring through the dark. "And now it hunts us," Varissa added. Evan felt cold fear crawl up his spine. The alien warriors took positions, calm but ready for war. He was surrounded by dozens of alien women, tall, sharp-eyed, strong. Warriors, scientists, pilots. Their movements were exact and controlled. He was the only human male in the entire room. Maybe in the entire ship. "Commander," one alien shouted. "The enemy is charging weapons." "Raise shields," Varissa ordered. Blue energy shimmered around the ship. The first blast hit them. The deck tilted. Panels sparked. Several warriors grabbed onto support beams. Another blast hit. Varissa held her balance easily, but Evan fell forward. A warrior caught him by the arm and pushed him back toward the command stand. "Stay aware, human," she said. "We do not protect you twice." Great, Evan thought. Just fantastic. He felt useless, scared, small. Then he saw something. A data panel on the side flickered differently from the others, a small crack in the power grid display. Something was off. He stepped toward it. "Don't touch," one soldier warned. I'm not touching, he said quickly. I'm looking. Verissa glanced at him, annoyed. And what does a human male think he sees? Evan pointed at the display. There, the energy is flowing into the wrong channel. If it keeps going, the shield will overload. Varis's eyes narrowed. She checked the panel herself. He was right. How did you see this? She asked. I'm an engineer. Mining sector. I fix broken energy systems all day. Verissa didn't respond, but she gestured to a technician. Correct the flow. The technician adjusted the grid. The shield brightened, stabilizing. Evan stepped back. The alien warriors stared at him, not angry now, but curious. The ship rocked again. Enemy vessel closing distance. Another warrior shouted. Varis's expression darkened. Prepare evasive maneuvers. But the enemy ship was faster, stronger. Its next blast tore through their defenses. Sparks exploded. The room shook violently. Evan fell again, rolling across the floor until he hit a console. He pushed himself up. Suddenly, he noticed something on one of the holograms. The enemy ship was tracking a specific energy signal. A repeating pulse. That's how they're finding us, Evan said loudly. They're following that pulse. Verissa turned. Explain. Evan pointed to the hologram. If you cut the pulse, shut down everything, make the ship look dead, no heat, no power, they won't see you. Verissa stared at him, thinking. You want us to kill our own power? She asked. Not kill it, Evan corrected. Hide it. Go dark. Just for a minute. Silence fell across the bridge. Then, do it, Verissa said. The lights dimmed. Systems shut down. The humming of the engines faded. The ship became still, cold, quiet. Evan held his breath. The enemy vessel passed by, its senses scanning. It didn't detect them. The ship drifted silently like a piece of space debris. The enemy slowly turned away. And then it left. The aliens looked around the room, surprised, relieved, impressed. Evan let out a shaky breath. Verissa stepped forward. Her golden eyes were softer now. Studying him, understanding him. You saved this vessel, she said quietly. And everyone on it. Evan didn't know what to say. The alien warriors bowed their heads slightly toward him. Not as slaves, not as prisoners, but as equals. Verissa placed a hand on his shoulder. You are no longer a stowaway, she said. Evan felt heat rise in his chest. Then a sharp beep echoed through the room. A communication signal. Verissa opened the message. A hologram of a Korean official appeared. Her voice was serious. Commander Verissa. Bring the human male to our homeworld, immediately. Evan's breath stopped. Why did they want him? What did they plan to do with him? Verissa turned to him slowly, her eyes unreadable. Human, your journey with us has only begun. The ship turned toward deep space. Evan felt fear, and something else. The alien ship glided silently through the void, a silver shadow in the endless black of space. Evan Ward, still trembling from the encounter with the enemy vessel, sat stiffly in the corner of the bridge. He could feel the eyes of the alien crew on him, curious, cautious, assessing. He had survived a storm. He had hidden in an alien ship. He had saved them from destruction. And now, they wanted him to come with them to an unknown homeworld. Fear, excitement, and confusion twisted inside him. Commander Verissa stood at the central console, eyes scanning the stars, her posture sharp, calm, and commanding. Human, she said without looking at him. You are now part of this crew. Whether you like it or not. Evan nodded, swallowing hard. His mind raced. How could he, a simple engineer from a mining colony, survive in a ship full of elite alien warriors? The enemy returns. A soft hum signaled the ship's senses activating again. The red blip from earlier had not vanished, it had only slowed. They are following us, said one of the alien warriors, her voice calm but tense. Evan leaned over a holographic map projected from the console. He recognized patterns from mining navigation software. They're tracking the energy signature again. If you key P using the ship's active shields, they'll find you. You need to go dark again, hide. Verissa turned, her golden eyes narrowing. Do you think a human male can hide a warship from an experienced enemy? Evan shrugged. I'm not a soldier, but I know patterns. If you make the ship invisible to energy scans, even for a few minutes, they can't lock on. Verissa studied him. For a long moment, silence hung in the bridge. Then she gave the order. Do it. You take control of our stealth systems. Evan's pulse raced. He approached the control console, remembering the ship's architecture from his first brief look. It was unlike anything he had ever seen. Panels, symbols, and energy conduits pulsed with a life of their own. He followed the instinct of an engineer, touching glowing panels, redirecting energy, and carefully adjusting the pulse of the engines. The ship's hum softened, the blue shields dimmed, and the bright lights on the hull disappeared. The alien crew watched silently. When he finished, the ship was a dark, silent shadow drifting in space. The enemy ship passed by, scanning blindly, its massive shadow looming, then fading into the distance. Evan exhaled slowly. He had done it. Verissa came to him, placing a hand on his shoulder. "Human, you have saved us again. You are remarkable." Evan didn't know whether to feel proud or terrified. Life on the alien ship. Once the immediate danger passed, life on the ship settled into a tense routine. The alien crew moved like a single organism. They ate at precise intervals, trained constantly, and maintained the ship with meticulous care. Evan, still unsure of his role, was assigned to minor maintenance duties, but his mind never left the bridge or the ship's sensors. He watched them. These were no ordinary beings. Each alien woman was trained in multiple skills: piloting, combat, engineering, and diplomacy. And yet, they occasionally laughed, shared stories, and looked at him with curiosity. He had learned their names: Sarala, the quiet strategist; Tyria, the swift scout; Varil, the weapons specialist; and of course, Commander Verissa, the unshakable leader. Evan noticed small moments of kindness. One of the warriors handed him a thermal drink during a long shift. Another guided him when he accidentally touched a wrong panel. They did not trust him fully, but they did not treat him as entirely useless. A sudden attack. Evan had been studying the ship's systems when the alarms blared. Red lights flashed. The deck shook. "The Devourer is back," said Tyria, her eyes sharp. "And it brought reinforcements." Evan's heart raced. The enormous red enemy vessel approached from the darkness of space. Its jagged hull pulsed with energy weapons, its sensors sweeping the area. Verissa barked orders. Quote, "Warriors, stations. Shields to maximum. Weapons charged. Human, come with me." Evan followed her to the command center. The room shook with each impact. Sparks flew. Panels exploded. The alien warriors moved like lightning, operating controls, firing energy weapons, and redirecting power. Evan felt useless. He had no combat training. But he remembered the energy patterns he had seen during the storm. The enemy tracked pulses, and the ship's current layout made him visible. "Commander," he shouted, "they're locking onto the shield's pulse. I can redirect the energy to throw off their sensors." Verissa glanced at him, weighing the risk. Finally, she nodded. "Do it." Hands shaking, Evan rerouted the ship's power. The shields flickered, then steadied in a pattern that mimicked natural space energy. The enemy's senses wavered. The massive vessel fired again, but the shot passed harmlessly, missing the now hidden ship. The crew looked at him in astonishment. For a moment, their eyes held not suspicion or curiosity, but awe. Earning respect, the battle passed, but the ship bore scars. Decks were damaged, minor fires burned, and a low hum of power loss vibrated through the hull. The crew worked tirelessly to repair the damage. Verissa approached Evan again. "You have saved us. Not once, but twice. You are not just a stowaway, human. You have the mind of a warrior, the hands of an engineer. You are valuable." Evan felt a mixture of pride and disbelief. A few hours ago, he had been hiding from a storm. Now, he had earned the respect of an elite alien crew. The other warriors, who had initially regarded him with suspicion, now treated him differently. Sarala offered guidance on ship systems. Tyria smiled briefly when he solved a minor energy flow problem. Even the other technicians seemed to defer to him in small ways. But with respect came responsibility, and danger. The journey continues. Days passed. The ship navigated the black expanse of space with careful precision. Evan learned the routines of the alien crew, how they communicated silently, how they trained, how they planned strategies for combat and diplomacy. Yet, a quiet fear remained. He was a stranger in their world, a human among warriors. He knew one mistake could mean death. One night, as the ship drifted in the shadow of a gas giant, Verissa called him to the observation deck. The stars stretched infinitely around them. The silence of space pressed against the hull. "You have proven yourself," she said, her voice softer than usual. "But your journey is only beginning. Our home world has requested your presence. They wish to see you, human." Evan swallowed hard. "Why me?" Verissa studied him. "You are unique. Our records show no other human male has ever survived the Devourer." "Yo." You are different, perhaps useful, perhaps something more. We will see. Evan felt a cold knot in his stomach. Another unknown awaited him, this time, in the heart of the Korean Empire. Secrets unfold. The ship approached a vast nebula, stars twinkling like jewels behind thick clouds of gas. A massive structure appeared, a floating space station, clearly alien in design, with towers that glowed softly and shields that pulsed rhythmically. The Korean homeworld was close. The crew prepared for docking. Evan watched the alien women move with seamless precision, their trust in him growing with every passing hour. Varissa led him to the center of the ship. When we arrive, you will meet our leaders. They will decide your fate. Until then, you will remain with us. Evan nodded, fear and curiosity battling within him. He had survived storms, enemy ships, and hostile warriors. But he had never faced the rulers of an alien civilization. The ship docked with a soft hum. Magnetic clamps locked onto the station. Evan could feel the vibrations under his feet. The hatch opened. Light spilled into the ship, revealing a world unlike anything he had ever seen. Towering alien structures, glowing flora, and flying vessels filled the sky of the station. Varissa led him forward. Welcome to our homeworld, human. From this moment, your life changes forever. Evan took a deep breath, trying to steady himself. He had no idea what awaited him. But one thing was certain, he was no longer alone. He was part of something far greater than he had ever imagined. And in the back of his mind, a question lingered. Would he survive the next storm, the one that came not from nature, but from the very rulers of this alien empire? End.